video, we're going to learn how to graph, like linear equations, in other words, equations in the form y equals mx plus b. So first off, let's start with, discussing the equation written above. So this m here, it represents the slope of the line. And the b here, it represents the y-intercept. All right, cool. And just for clarification's sake, we could also think of the slope intuitively as the rise over the run. The rise being the y direction, and then the run being the x direction. Okay, cool. Now let's start with a problem. So just in order to graph y equals 2x plus 1, we first set up our x and y plane, the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, cool. And the trick is to the first step is to plot the y-intercept, in other words the b. And for our problem, the y-intercept is equal to b equals 1. So on my y-axis, starting from the origin, I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to label it. So here would be the point 0, 1. Great. And from the y-intercept, I use the slope, and the slope, it's 2. And in other words, the rise is equal to 2, and the run is equal to 1. And the reason why is I could just write, instead of writing 2, I could just write it as 2 over 1. So on my y-axis, starting at the y-intercept, the b part, I'm going to go up by 2. So I'll go 1, 2, and then I'm going to move right 1. So I'm here. And this point here, it's going to be 1, 2. Now, from geometry, we know that given any 2 points in space, there is exactly one line between them. So all we need to do now is just connect these 2 points. And I did the best I could. It's 2x plus 1. And this is the equation of the line y equals 2x plus 1. Okay, so here's our next problem. Y equals 2/3 x plus 3. So again, our y-intercept, it's 3. And our slope, it's 2 over 3. Recall mx plus b. Okay, so starting at the origin, we're going to first plot our y-intercept, which is 3. So in other words, we're going to starting at the origin, we're going to go up by 3. So 1, 2, 3, and we're here. Okay, and then remembering that the slope, it's rise over run, we're going to go up by 2 from our y-intercept. So we go up 1, 2, so we're at 5, but then we're going to run and by 3. In other words, we're going to move 3 to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and this point here, it's going to be 3, 3, 5. Great. And remember, once we have our 2 points, all we need to do is just draw a line between them. So this is the equation of the line 2/3 x plus 3. Now I want to briefly mention something. When we have the slope rise over run, for the run, we always move to the right. Now for the rise, we could move in 2 directions. What I mean by this, remember, this is movement. The rise, it's movement in the y direction, but we have to be careful. When the slope, it's positive, this means that we're moving up for the rise. But when the slope, it's negative, this means that we're moving down. for the rise. In other words, positive slope, it'll just move up on the y. Just like negative slope, just move downwards. But the run, it's always to the right, like regardless of whether it's negative or positive. Great, so let's see that in action. Okay, so let's look at the equation of the line y equals negative 3x plus 5. So recall the b is my 5, and my slope, it's the negative 3. It's the coefficient of the x. Okay, so again, starting at the y-intercept, it's 5. That's going to be the first point I graph. So along the y-axis, we go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the point will be 0, 5. Now, using our slope, instead of recalling that our slope it's negative 3, we can write as negative 3 over 1. The rise is equal to 3, and the run is equal to 1. So again, because we have negative slope, that means that for the rise, or in other words, we're going down by negative 3, or sorry, we're going down by 3. So starting at 0, 5, we're going to go down by 3. 1, 2, 3. But we're going to move 1 to the right. Remember, the run, we're always moving to the right. It's always positive in the x direction. So in other words, we're going to move 1 to the right. Great. And the point here, it's going to be 1, 2. So now again, given 2 points in space, there is exactly one line between them. So all we need to do now is use our ruler and connect the points. It's not perfect, but let's try to hit it. Let's try to hit it better. It's not perfect, but that's the idea. Okay, so this would be the equation of negative 3x plus 5. If I had a ruler, then it would be more exact, and if my graph was if the points were equally spaced. But anyhow, that's how we do it. So now let's do one that's a bit more challenging. Okay, what if we're giving an equation like this, and it just says directions just to graph? So the first things first is to look at the power on the y. It's 1, so it's linear. So in other words, our goal, or the first step, is to put it in the form y equals mx plus b. And for those of you who aren't aware, and I didn't mention it at the start of the video, but I should now, it's that this is the y-intercept form of a line. And what's cool about the y-intercept form is that it gives us all the information that we need about a line. It gives us the y-intercept, and it gives us the slope. And using these two ideas, like we know everything it is that we need to know about a line. And in mathematics, when we know everything we need to know about something, or in this case, the y-intercept, the line is characterized by the slope and the y-intercept. So again, like a line, it's characterized by both its slope and its y-intercept, because anything that we need to know about a line can be found using these two things. This is why we care about standard form. But anyhow, let's put this in standard form now. I'm just copying the problem now. So the goal is to put it at the form y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract minus 4x on both sides. So I get 5y equals minus 4x minus 6. And then here, I do not want 5y, I just want y on the left. So I'm going to divide every term by 5. So I get y equals negative 4 over 5x minus 6 over 5. And this is kind of interesting. What I mean by interesting is, let's draw our axis now. So notice for our y-intercept, b equals negative 6/5. And this time we have a fraction. So it's like, hey, how do we graph a fraction? It's simple. This is what I mean by interesting. Think about how many times does 5 go into 6? Oh, 5 goes into it one time. But what's left over? In other words, 6 minus 5 equals what? 1. So it's really 1 and 1/5. So the way how we graph it, we know that the number 1 and 1/5, it's between 1 and 2. So the way how to make a more accurate graph is we could just be like, hey, between 1 and 2, I'm going to cut it into 5 pieces. 5 because that's the denominator. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, including that one. So now I'm, oh, but sorry, the b, it's negative, so I have to do it here. I have to do it in the other direction. So in other words, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we include like the endpoint of the next number. Cool. So now it's 1 and 1/5. In other words, here I have 5, but it's 1/5, so I want one of them. So it's gonna be what? Here. So this is gonna be my y-intercept, which is -6/5. Cool. And then using this idea, I'm going to do the rise over the run. So in other words, I'm going to go down by 4 because it's negative. Remember our slope, it's -4/5. So I'm going to go down by 4. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I go 1, 2, 3. I need one more, so it's going to be here. Great. But then I'm going to go what? 5 to the right. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I'm just going to draw a line between them. That's okay. Yeah, that's perfect. So this would be the form y equals -4. This would be the equation of the line, the graph of the line. This. And yeah, and so graphing a line, it's not that hard. Just to recap, y equals mx plus b. This is the y-intercept. This is the slope. First step would be to graph the y-inter. Second step would be from the y-intercept, use the slope m to get a second point. Then our final step would be to draw a line between the 2 points. And boom, we are done. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Just have a good day.